Hello, welcome everyone to this exciting webinar today on how intelligent automation is enabling MSPs, as in managed service providers, globally to deliver transformational growth. My name is Siva Juturi. I am Vice President for Americas for Automation Edge, leading ITPA RPA platform. I have my colleague Fernando Baldin, also from Brazil, joining. He's Director of Operations from Quality, one of the largest MSPs from Brazil. Just some housekeeping notes. As you can see, just mute yourself, put all your questions on chat, and you all will be muted, and you can submit those questions at your screen at any time. We will respond to the questions at the end of the presentation. At a high level, the agenda is introducing MSP as market trend. I'm sure some of you are in MSP business, and you must be wondering, what's transformation that you have to go through to beat out your competition and onboard your customers. Then we have Automation Edge platform. Then we have Quality. Fernando will present his perspective of what the journey they're going through on automation in Brazil. And then we have some case studies to present too, and then we'll take Q&A in the end. So what are the MSP's market trends that are going on? As you know, the MSP market right now is globally about $150 billion, believe it or not. And we expect it to be about $280 billion by 2023 in the next 5 years, with a compounded annual growth rate of 15%. MSPs typically provide IT managed services, cloud, telecom managed services, CRM managed services, both from an end user as well as from a server perspective, and even now it's diversifying into operations services. So MSP is going through a big transformation right now, where no more MSPs are interested in just transactional engagement from a customer's perspective. Customers don't want to just talk about number of tickets or number of resources, FTEs, or conventional SLAs. They are now partnering with the intelligent automation, that I call it as product solution providers, to edge out their competition. That way they can introduce innovation and also improve their SLAs significantly and reduce costs over time. They're more focused on business outcomes and faster time to market. And as you can see, this Gartner report that just came out in May 18, that most of these services that are maturing really fast are enabled by intelligent automation services. And that involves some technologies like RPA that we will just walk through with Automation Edge. And then also some of the AI, ML, and NLP capabilities, natural language processing capabilities. And literally the workforce is being, if not replaced, but enabled with virtual assistants. And the types of services that Gartner kind of highlights is that that going through the maturity curve is more around cloud and data center operations. Security is catching up real fast. Workplace management services and network automation services and the traditional application management services in that order. The other trend that we're observing is that MSPs are not just focused on just IT services. They want to expand that portfolio to customer relationship management, to facilities management, finance operations, business process operations, to their bandwagon, so that they can give that complete end-to-end service to their customers. Next. So I'll just introduce our Automation Edge. Automation Edge is the leading ITPA, RPA, we call it as IT process automation and robotic process automation. RPA is a relatively new space, but it's catching up real fast. Now it's no more a myth; it's a reality. And our platform has these 5 areas, that has its capabilities. The traditional UI automation, mainframe ERP, Excel automation that comes under the RPA, the orange area. Then we have these traditional IT automation where MSPs are big into, where we have aligned ourselves to the leading service desk platforms, and also some of the security automation, which is catching up with the likes of Splunk. The cognitive capabilities inherent now in our platform, so that the MSP customers don't have to really invest in additional cognitive solutions, which includes machine learning, AI, and chatbot capabilities. We also have we are the only one, in fact, RPA provider which has inherent ETL capability for large data transaction volumes. We also provide OCR as well as big data connectors like Hadoop and Python and other extensions. Next. In terms of our analysts, Gartner has endorsed us. We are the only RPA ITPA vendor in the market where they have endorsed us both on the IT process automation side, on the left side, as you can see that chart, and also on the market guide for robotic process automation. So that combination is our unique strength and our differentiator. And we are, with those combined platform capabilities, the MSPs are rapidly adopting our platform, and we are partnering with leading MSPs like Quality in the marketplace. Next. So just to give a context, from an IT automation perspective, if you take any service test here, this kind of workflow provides that automation capability of Automation Edge, where you could have a work intake coming in the form of service requests, incidents, or alerts from monitoring system, or even have some unstructured work intake categories like email, voice, and even log files or encrypted data. Automation Edge has that capability to take those requests and then run those runbooks and hit those target systems to fulfill those requests almost instantaneously, with the ability to scale rapidly with what we call them as bots. And you can see some of the advanced use cases there going on the server side too, and also the network automation, like EC2 Azure provisioning, VMware provisioning, Cisco provisioning, and so on and so forth. Next. These are just some sample list of ready adapter bots that come in the platform, and as you can see, they are categorized by various areas of both on the service management and business applications on the top left, and the likes of cloud applications on the top right, and then includes cybersecurity, which is really the space that customers and MSPs are investing to ensure that it's a secure and with no vulnerabilities, and that also not only identifying vulnerabilities but also immediate and quick remediation, because the business impact is so significant on any security vulnerabilities. And all the other traditional ready adapters are also listed here in terms of messaging, collaboration, databases, monitoring systems. The other context is also OCR, which goes around the expansion of the portfolio, where we have the ability to process optical character recognition using the underlying solutions like Novance and Abby. So those partnerships are also significant, and we have ready adapters so that our workflows are able to handle those large volumes of data with documents. Next. Just a context of our cognitive and chatbot and NLP capabilities. As you see here, that we not only have our own inherent virtual assistant connector, which has chatbot capabilities, but we also have the ability to seamlessly integrate the likes of Skype for Business, Facebook Messenger, other chat applications. They're there like Google.Dialogflow, and Microsoft, IBM Watson. So those all seamlessly integrate in case customers or MSPs are already invested in those platforms. And this is again becoming a very, very significant roadmap into customers' journey as well as MSP's journey, where they want to have that capability of very intuitive user interface on submitting the requests, but also not only submitting, but also provisioning those requests, which goes not only for IT requests, but also the other target business applications. This is just one use case of one of our leading customers, Mashreq Bank, which is the largest bank in Middle East, based in Dubai. 50% of their service desk tickets are being automatically fulfilled using Automation Edge. And you see here they're not only typical L1, L2 type tickets, but also they're going into security automation, into some business operation tickets, going into the Oracle CRM applications. So that gives us that platform's capability of combining both traditional IT tickets to some business tickets too. So let's take one quick example. Go next. So if you see a typical employee onboarding automation use case, you see that it starts with an HR cycle where the HR has to onboard an employee on their payroll or HR system, and then also have the provisioning of their laptop, creation of their systems, accesses, going into external systems like registration for their courses in case it's to a learning management system, and also creating phone extension and badging. So you see the color code of green versus blue, which talks about our use of our ready bots and ready adapters in the strictest sense of ID automation, but also using the RPA capabilities with front screen or UI automation, which can be combined together in one workflow rapidly with our tool called Process Studio. And this cuts down the onboarding. We have seen beyond 50% cycle, which our customers are able to leverage in a big way. The other context is also for MSPs, where they want to use our capabilities in an intelligent support best perspective, where there's a possibility of quick remedial action right away, instantaneously, but also have the ability to also classify the tickets using our AI/ML capabilities with intelligent classification capabilities, and also predict who is the best agent if it requires really a specialist, and hand off those tickets to a human agent. And that way, this combination of various categories are all embedded in the same platform. So these are the alliances that I was talking earlier, where we have partnered with leading ITSM providers like ServiceNow, Cherwell, BMC, cloud like Salesforce, and also some of the OCR vendors for significant document requirements and OCR capabilities, and AI vendors like Codart AI. And that is the strength, where not only that seamless integration is available, but also we are reaching out to those MSPs who are using these platforms. And you will hear Quality has invested significantly on Cherwell, and that's where I think they're leveraging that capability of our seamless integration. Next. So these are some of our customers, where the bots are being used, in the likes of hundreds of bots, which are banking, financial services, some MSPs, manufacturing customers, and some of these cases where we are using one process running hundreds of bots, which also is testimony of our scale, in case we have to scale the platform not only in an on-premise context, but also providing this as a cloud-based solution. Next. Just a footprint of our extended customer list, a sampling of that, which not only testimony of our global context, but also the size. These are some of our Fortune 100 customers like American Express, and also MSPs who are leveraging our platform. Now I'll hand it off to Fernando. Fernando is Director of Operations Quality, which is one of the largest MSPs in Brazil. He comes with 20 years of experience. He's ITIL expert. He's a thought leader in ITSM and HDS, KCS instructor as well. He's written a lot of books, and he's a big automation expert himself and very hands-on. Fernando, take it over from here.
Okay, thank you, Shiva. Hi, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank Automation Edge for this opportunity to talk a little bit about automation and also quality. At the end of the presentation, if you have any questions, please feel free to do so. And also, I'm gonna show my mail at the end of the presentation. You can also send your question to me directly, okay? First of all, I'd like to talk a little bit about quality. So quality was founded in 1989, so I have like 20, almost 30 years in business. We are one of the biggest IT services company in Brazil. We are a public company here in Brazil with around 1,500 employees in our team. So we have been doing business with a lot of clients during this almost 30 years. And I'd like to talk a little bit about our clients and then talk about our journey to automation with you guys. So in the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about how we see the automation process in our business. One of the key challenges that we as service providers have is how to escalate our business. How can I grow, but grow in margin, in revenue, but not as much as in people that I have in my operations. So one of the key aspects of automation is that you can create an offer. So you can create an automation of an SAP process, for example, and you can replicate that process with little effort in other clients. So that's one of the reasons we looked at automation 4 years ago and been doing so, because we think that this is a way of leverage our business without growing in the number of people that we have to deliver those services. So this is a presentation of how automation enables you to transform your business. Instead of doing a service for a client, you can enable to construct or build some automations schemes that you might have, and after client you go with that group of workflows that you can deploy in that customer, and he's going to be happy, you're going to be happy. And so that's a different way of seeing how we do business when you add automation to your offer. So Nilesh, please, the next slide. Oh, the next slide, okay. And another important issue when you talk about automation, normally we as service providers, we normally don't have the technology ourselves. We represent, it's very common for service providers to represent other manufacturers. So when we are in that between the customer and the manufacturer of a software solution, it's very important that we understand how we can be part of that process and generate value to our customer. Otherwise, he would just go directly to the manufacturer. How we do that? First of all, we look for softwares and manufacturers that can help us with a good support team that are aligned with our needs and especially understand how we do business. So the service provider needs to grow and pay as you go. We cannot, we don't like to invest much and go after clients. So in this case, Automation Edge help us a lot, understand how our business happens, and the support team is very important as well. And we, as quality, we embedded their offer, their software in our offer. So we take their automation platform, we put our services around it, we add professional services, we add our local knowledge of the needs of our customers. And with that, when we provide a service with automation, the customer is more satisfied because he sees it as a more digital service. We, as providers, we get a more secure contract. I call it the client lock-in. So when you have an automation platform embedded in your offer, you kind of lock your client with you. Not that he's not gonna cancel the contract with you, but it's going to be much difficult for him to do so when you have more technologies embedded. So this is one of the key aspects. So you got to find a good partner and then transform that to embed it in your services to provide that to the customer. So that's how we think, and that's how we do it with Automation Edge and some other partners that we have nowadays. Next slide, please, Nilesh. Nilesh is the guy with the power of passing the slides on. Talking about Automation Edge, some architecture interesting aspects that I'd like to point out. So Automation Edge, it's a cloud-based RPA. For us as service providers, that's very interesting because it brings up some key aspects of the process. First, since it's a cloud-based, there is no discussion with the customer for, oh, please provide me that server, database, what it's going to install it, and all that. All that, it's off. All we do is, I need the agent server, and that's it. We'll start. So that makes POCs or proof of concepts much easier to do. And that enables us to have a faster sales cycle. This is another issue that we have ran into since we are a service company, and normally a contract takes 8 to 10 months. Average time that we close a deal is 8 to 10 months. But when you go to RPA software, that sales cycle is much smaller. So it's much easier to do business with this kind of solution. And since it's a cloud approach, the implementation is much faster, which is very important because as service providers, we need to sell the value, but in a very short period of time, we need to show the client the benefits. Otherwise, we start questioning, did I make the right decision buying from this guy? And we cannot make, we can't make him think of that. And also in the cloud, we have better control. So I know if the client is using, how he's using, if he's growing the use of automation, if he's not, how can I help him do more? And also myself is better because I have all the clients in a single portal and I can manage that. I can do a better management services when I know exactly what's going on in all of my operations that we have in Brazil. And then the easy to use feature of Automation Edge is very easy to start it. So it doesn't require, I like to say, the MIT skills to start. No, you can start with your team. You can start with small automations and something that you probably in a week you'll be able to do the first automations in your environment, and you see that you can deploy that much faster than normally you see in the market. And all that in the end is to increase the contract lifetime. All we want is to stay with our customers as much as we can, because in the end, that's what makes the value of a MSP provider. Nilesh, please, to the next slide. Another key aspects I would like to share with you guys are related to our market strategy. A little bit of the things we've learned over the years here about automation. One key point is that you always can solve a problem with automation, but you cannot create one. If the client doesn't see that a problem exists to be solved, you can do POCs, you can do, you can go there and prove him with numbers and all that. If he doesn't see the problem, you either go somewhere else in that company to find a problem that he realized exists, or go to another opportunity. So this is a very important thing. Sometimes you see that you can help him with automation, but he doesn't see that the same way. A very challenging aspect of selling automation is going beyond the cost speech. The first thing that comes to mind when you talk to your customers about automation, it's how many people am I going to send away, how much costs we're going to save. And even though cost is a very important aspect of automation, it's not the only aspect. In fact, automation is all about performance. Sometimes you just increase the capacity of a team of doing the same task. Sometimes you take the risk out of the process. So it's not about cost only. So it's very important when you sell automation to bring that up to light. I always tell that we should automate our customer first, or someone else will. So it's very important that we take that approach. We take automation to him. Look what we are doing. Let's start doing that together. Let's start that journey together. Because if you don't do that with your customers, probably someone else will. So why not you? Why don't you go there? Why don't you start automation with your customers since they are already with you? They already believe in you. And a very important aspect that we like to tell our customer is that automation is a journey. It's not a project that has a start and an end, but it's actually a journey where you start with little automations and you improve the complexity of those automations, and then you add value to the company. They see how that is important, how that helps, and that starts the journey of automation. In the next slide, Nilesh is going to pass it on. I'm sharing with you guys a methodology that we have developed here that help our customer answer the first question that he normally does on an automation journey. What should I automate first? This question you guys will run into during your business talks of automation. Okay, I like it, I see the benefit, but what should I do first? Which department, which process? We like to do the following approach. First, you do the Pareto's law. What are the 20% activities that take 80% of the effort of your team? Or we can call it the top 5 activities if you have a report that shows the activities that are more demanding in your department. You take those top 5 and you do an analysis based on a volume and complexity matrix. So the first workflows to do, or the first process to automate, would be the ones with a high volume and low complexity. A traditional process like this is the password reset or user unlock in IT service desk. Because when you chose those low complexity and high volume, you're going for the gold. We call it the gold of automation. The benefits are high and the cost and the effort are low. Once you choose a process, then you design that process. How is that working today? And how is that going to work with automation with it? Then you analyze both. Sometimes it's not about automating a bad process. It's going to still be a bad process, but automated. So you design the process, you improve it, and you automate it. Then you go to validation phase. This is very important. You do an automation, as everything in IT, when it comes to real life or go live, then you see the reality of things, right? So when the validation process is where you see and you follow the execution of that automation process very closely to see if there anything going on, is everything working just fine. Normally that takes 7 to 10 days, and then you put it to operation and you start the cycle again. So you get the second one, analysis the volume and complexity, and go on, go on, go on. The two aspects of automation are very important. The high volume are the ones of best benefit, cost benefit, but you will also find those of low volumes activities, those that happens once a month, once every 6 months. Those are also very interesting candidates for compliance and risk management in automation. Those are the two big approaches that you can take to show the value of automation. Nilesh, please, the next slide, if you could. Other important aspect of automation, as we have said here, is that automation is the journey. Every customer of yours, every customer that you might have today, he has an automation gap. The first thing to do is to acknowledge that. So the customer normally doesn't know what can be automated or have never thought about automating one or two processes of his business. So you tell him that that automation gap is going to be fulfilled with your journey. So you start with one, the second one, the third, the fourth, and so on, so on, so on. So this is to see automation as a journey is very important because it's not going to stop. When you end a process, you start a second one, a third, and the first can be improved, and that happens as a natural evolving cycle. The famous PDCA cycle that we call of improving our operations. Next slide, please, Nash. For us, talking a little bit about our experience and importance of automation for managed service providers, is that the cloud approach helped us a lot. So it's the cloud approach makes things very easy to do tests, to deploy, and to have control over what's going on in our customers. As everything in the MSP world, it's all about partnership. So you got to find the right partner. We have been partnering with Automation Edge. It's been a very good experience for us, especially because the onboarding process of the technical training and all that really helped us to start that, I like to say, to start the engines of automation too, especially regarding the robotic process automation area. And then we are a very large service provider here in Brazil, service desk provider. So to be integrated with our Chero platform really was a very important thing for us, because with that we were able to leverage our client base and to generate more value to them using an Automation Edge alongside with Chero in our base. And just tell a little bit of an internal case, because when you talk about automation in MSP, there are two aspects of it. First, it's to generate new revenue, your customers, to generate new business, to go beyond IT, go to commercial, go to financial, and have an offer to them. But also, you have the internal needs. And it's also something you need to consider. Sometimes you do an internal project and you automate something, and that generates revenue for you or saves cost that you are losing. And we had a situation in one of our contracts with a company called CenturyLink, which is a link telecom company worldwide. And we had two KPIs that were very tricky. This is a 8,000 tickets a month, but we had these two KPIs that were related to 90 tickets. So you see, less than 1% of the tickets were costing us a very large money. And what we did, we implemented our bot between November and December. And from that, we were able to attend the SLAs because of that. So you have a bot that it's always looking for some tickets in a specific situation. And when they find it, it does the little things that will have to be done by our team. But now it's a bot, so it's 24/7, always available and doing that process. And then we were able to cut to zero that SLA cost that we were having with those two KPIs. This percentage here is the real number that we have from the past 5 months of this contract. Next slide, please, Nash. And now I'd like to talk about a little of our customers. One of them is Servopa. It's a Volkswagen dealer here, a very large Volkswagen dealer here in Brazil. And since, like the other dealers in that industry, they have a lot of files they need to share and download with the manufacturer of the cars manufacturers. And they used to do that by manual effort. So they had to sync files of sales, files of all the stores, and a lot of files had to be synced between them and the manufacturer. And we did a automation of all those processes, and that made them able to have more time from their financial team to focus on the business, on high value activities, instead of downloading files and moving files to directories and all that. So this is those in the left here were the process that we have implemented there. They're running at this as we speak, and we are now they are now able to do the best things and the things that be closer to their customer, instead of downloading and entering this program, start the date here, and all that bureaucracy that has to be done. Someone has to do it, but it doesn't add value to the business. The other case study I'd like to share with you, Manish, please, if you could go to the next slide, is from a customer called Cushman Wakefield. Actually, it's a US company that works here in Brazil. This is a very interesting process. They provide services for a lot of banks in Brazil, doing the maintenance of their branches all over Brazil. And and what happens that they receive their demand through their clients, SAP. But in order for them to manage, they have their own systems of records, their own ITSM solution. So they need to orchestrate the numbers. The request comes in SAP. They used to have 3 people there. They would gather that information, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, and send it over to their operations team. As we know, everything that is manual, there's the possibility of error is higher. People change. Nobody wants to do the same thing. And as I like to say, what we do with automation is separate the jobs. Let's robot jobs, robot tasks, let's make it be done by robots. So this is something repetitive, it's standard, let's put it to a robot to do it. This activity has to have analysis or some kind of a different aspect, let's put it to a human being to execute it. In this case, we did a robot that just goes do exactly as the 3 people there, but much more accuracy. It doesn't go on vacation, doesn't get sick, and goes there to the SAP, brings to their ITSM solution, and does that every hour. So we improved their process, saved them money with a very simple process. So there's a lot of opportunities there. You'll be amazed of how many processes you will find that are very easily automated with high volume, the low complexity and high volume process that are out there. Next slide, please. I think now is a Q&A, so I'm gonna send it back to Shiva.
Thank you, Fernando. Thank you so much for your presentation. As you can see, how quality has been able to capitalize on their automation journey using Automation Edge platform from multiple perspectives. One is, adopting a cloud-based automation platform, which increases significantly the SLAs, but also the onboarding cycle for customers. Right, the customers are waiting to be onboarded, and that really speeds up. Also, you see the variety of use cases that Fernando presented. It not only were listed for IT automation, but also things like SAP, some of the business process automation use cases, which is using our RPA capabilities. So we'll take some questions now. Nilesh, if you can highlight those questions from the folks. We have about 5 to 10 minutes more left, and then we'll answer those questions between me and Fernando.
Your first question is, in ITSM services, what is the best practice to and how to make context preservance across the incident?
Right. So Fernando, you can chip in too. So from an ITSM perspective, as I understand, the question is the context preservance for a ticket.
Yes.
So we have inherently built capabilities where, based on the ticket context, if the ticket is in the form of an email, or it is created manually by someone, or it's coming from as a monitoring alert, our AI ML as well as NLP capabilities of the platform can get the context of who it could be, and what group it has to be supported, and also how it can be assigned and how it can be remediated quickly. So we use natively some algorithms to support that, and then that translates to the best practices. Now, in terms of also preserving that context, the bot has the capability to build some models and train so that the context is preserved. So the next time a similar type of ticket in a typical incident problem context comes, we'll be able to not only remediate it, but if it's recurring, then we'll be able to resolve it by creating a problem instead of just resolving it blindly.
Thank you, Shiva. There's next question. What is the typical onboarding time for a new customer on your platform?
Yeah, Fernando, you want to take that? Go
Yes,
ahead.
please. In quality, it takes around now 40 days for an onboarding process. We think that we can improve that to 30 days. That would be a very interesting process. So, which is, from a software perspective, it's important to say that onboarding process, like the software installation, is no longer than a day. What takes longer to implement and adopt automation is that not always the client has his process documented. It's very common for you to document a process at a client. Then when you go talk with the people, that is a very important tip. Always talk to the people that execute the process, not the one who manages it. Because when you map the process with the one who manages that, and you go to the people that executes, you always find gaps. Oh, and I thought that system was off. Oh, I didn't know you guys did that still. Oh, so that's the part that takes a little more time to map and understand the process as is, and then you are able to create the to be with automation.
Thank you, Fernando. The next question is, with automation, what kind of new skills are required for you as an MSP?
It's very, the skills that we need, this is a very important aspect. You don't have to have a very high level MIT specialist in your team to start working with automation. Since it's a visual tool, so it's a kind of visual way of creating workflows. With junior to senior help desk analysts, you can start, the basic knowledge of PowerShell, some concept and some logical of programming. You can start doing the first automation. So this is a very important myth. It's not high level people, but it's much more people that are aware of the network context and the programming logic in their mind. And then with the visual platform that the Process Studio has, they are able to create and test possible automations in their environment.
Thank you, Fernando. There are a lot of questions. I'll just take last one as we are running short of time now. So what is the difference between ITPA and RPA on your automation?
Well, for us as a MSP, there's a big difference between ITPA, RPA. Technically speaking, I think Shiva can explain better than myself. But in a business perspective, what happens is that ITPA, the IT process automation, it's more focused on IT activities. So you are dealing with IT. In IT, it's always related to security issues, risk issues. Let's test it. Let's do some, I don't know if that's the best approach. So normally, you have to have a lot of discussions to adopt that. Is there an API for that? Can I have access to that system? Can I have access to that database to do so? When we talk about RPA, normally you are able to talk with business side of your customers. So it's a much more straightforward approach. Okay, does it work? Show me. It works. Okay, how much? I will save money. Okay, let's do it. So the main difference from my point of view is not only the technical, but the opportunities that you can deal with. One you have to deal with a more technical guy, so it will be a different project. The other is more like the outcome. Will I be able to do that? Would that bring me money? The client, the business client, always is more like straightforward, and it's a faster decision guy. And I'll say that's the technically. I think Shiva can be more has more information than myself of the technical issues of both.
Sure, yeah, that's correct, Fernando. Thanks for that. So just to add to what Fernando said, IT automation typically is around end user or infrastructure automation, where the work intake comes from typical a service desk platform. But when it comes to RPA, the work intake could still be coming from from ITSM system or an unstructured data source, but it can span things like front office, back office, mid office, shared services, BPO, those repeatable, high volume, like Fernando said, touching multiple systems, and there needs to scale at will based on seasons, based on demand, and also have the ability to mine and provide analytics so that appropriate actions can be taken. So this way we are able to kind of combine that both ITPA, RPA capabilities and use them in a typical MSP environment to broaden their service portfolio as well. So I think with this we'll wrap it up. I think we're right on dot. Myself and Fernando would like to thank you all for attending this webinar. Hope you all got some good information. And as you can see from our emails right there, if you can just bring that email slide once again for people to reach out to us, to info@automationedge.com or to Fernando or myself. I wish you all a wonderful day and have a great weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Wish all the best. Thank you, Shiva and Nilesh, for an invitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fernando. Thank you, Nilesh.